I think I've just found the only film that's made me cry at all this year. Pixar have done it yet again. That is the film Soul on Disney+, and that's what we'll be engaging with today. Hey guys, my name is Jamie. I run this YouTube channel ministry called Engagedapologia, which is helping you engage the culture through films and TV and connecting you with Jesus. So if you like the sound of that, if you want more of the content, then don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification button to get my most recent videos. And obviously, by the way, happy belated Christmas. I haven't created a Christmas video. I just wanted to chill out quite a bit. I've been very busy with work lately. So yeah, happy Christmas. I hope you enjoyed all your Christmas and managed to celebrate Christmas in some way, shape or form, dependent on where you are in the UK, depending on your lockdown and your tier. But I hope you had some sort of celebration of Christmas, especially after this quite shocking year we've had. But let's move forward. So, spoiler warning for anyone who hasn't seen this film, Soul by Disney's Pixar. It is a beautiful, beautiful film. It's probably one of my favourite films of this year, if not my favourite, and probably one of the best films of this year, which I think is, I think most people have agreed it's an amazing film. It's quite highly rated on IMDb. I think it's about 8.2. It was released, I think it was actually released on Christmas Day, but I watched it a couple of days after. It was just me and my wife, and we actually had no knowledge about it. I kind of heard about it, but I'd never actually saw any trailers or anything. Even though it was Pixar, I'm always skeptical about going into any film, to be honest. I try and have my head screwed on, but yeah, it did bring me quite a few tears. Obviously in good ways, because it really does resonate and it connects with the heart as well. So my main thoughts about the film, again, like I said, I think it was a beautiful film. It's written so well. The characters, I really resonated with all of them. There isn't a character there that I thought was out of place. I thought they were all written so well. There's so much depth to them. There always is in a Pixar film and a Disney film. Obviously emotional, there's comedy in there. There's pretty much everything you want in a film. It's actually within this film. It makes you laugh, it makes you cry. And it makes you a little bit angry at times as well, I guess. I think it tries to kind of find those sort of, try and connect with those deep inner emotions that we all feel, those inner desires that we all feel. And obviously it was believable as well. Like, there's so much there, the story, with the story and the writing and the characters, there's just believability right down to the root of it. And the length of it was really good. I didn't want it to end too soon. I didn't think it dragged at all. So what was my favourite scene in the film? I would say there's quite a few, to be honest. I think the scene in which Joe and 22, when they go into the barbers, and 22 is basically acting as Joe. She's basically trying to understand the barber's life story, and that's really emotional, that whole story. And Joe can't come to the realization that he's not really been interested in anyone else's life apart from his. Everyone's kind of been standing in his way, like his mum's been standing in his way, and he's not really spent the time to try and find out about anyone else's interests or life or backstory. But 22, obviously she's innocent and she's just really interested. She's really intrigued about just trying to learn about Earth, and she's just mesmerized by everything. She's really enjoying pretty much everyday life to all its fullest. And yeah, she's just talking to this barber as Joe, and that's just really emotional because it's really human. And I think it's something that we've missed. Another favourite scene of mine was when Joe, he's kind of come back as, himself. He's come back to life, and he's done his trial evening, and it went amazingly well. And then it kind of, as him and the lead singer leave, he was kind of like, oh, that was it. Like, he'd done this amazing performance, but he felt like, oh, he fulfilled his goal, his purpose, and he still wanted more. And that's what Joe wanted. Joe was after this vision, this goal, this purpose, this passion of becoming a jazz musician. He fulfilled that, but then it was kind of like, oh, that's it. Like, he's done what else is there to do now? And then he goes back home, and then he, goes back on his piano at home, and then he kind of gets into this state, joy and realization as he's playing this beautiful piece, which I think is beautiful. The soundtrack is amazing. The music is beautiful in this as well. And he's playing these. He's looking at all the different pieces of which 22, when she was Joe, had gathered throughout their journey, and he's just looking at them and kind of taking it all in, and really come to this realization, saying he had his whole perspective wrong, and he was just taking in every single moment. He had a perspective that actually the passion and purpose isn't made for self-interest, for self-absorption, for individual purposes. Is actually to to uplift everyone else, as a gift to use for everyone else, to just to enjoy life, to enjoy the gift of life, to enjoy every moment, the ups and the downs of it. And that was just a beautiful scene as well. But yeah, the overarching principle that overrides the film is Joe trying to find his passion, his meaning, his purpose through his musical talent, his gift of being a pianist, especially a jazz pianist. And he's trying to fulfill that, trying to achieve that, and he's kind of getting tired that most of his life he's not been achieved. That's not been achieved. He's been kind of stuck in a rut with, being in a job, in a full-time job that he doesn't have a heart in. Basically, his heart's completely in music and stuff. From my opinion, what this culture speaks of, I think more pre-COVID than anything else, is that it was all about trying to find your meaning, your passion, your purpose through just. It could be one thing or two things that you're really, really good at, your talent, your gifts. And that's the one thing you should aim for, you should strive for, no matter what anyone says, no matter what the circumstances are. That's what you should aim for. And obviously there is truth to that. I think if you're good at something, you should strive to do it. But I think what this film shows is that by doing that, and I think it beautifully depicts it, is that you shut everything and everyone else out because your main focus is that. You lose sight of all the present moments, and you're trying to focus on the future, the goal that you're trying to reach. And we could all fall into that trap that we have this goal, this vision, and we're trying to aim towards that. But if that is the only thing you're trying to aim towards that, then everything else doesn't matter, basically. Your family doesn't matter, your friends don't matter. And there's not too preachy in there, it just shows it through the story. I think it actually kind of speaks against the culture. And I think through COVID, what COVID has shown is that actually there will be things that will stop your passion, your purpose. If that is the thing you try and drive meaning from, it will fall short, and you will basically you will fall into a hole, which Joe basically did. This film came out at a perfect time, when we're still going through COVID, when people have lost all sense of purpose and meaning. Actually maybe enjoy the present moments, enjoy the relationships that you do have, enjoy what you do have. Don't focus on what you don't, or what you could have, or what you should have, but focus. It's a really basic message, but I think we can all lose sight of it. And 22 is the beautiful depiction of just being innocent and just enjoying everything. Like, she was floating on air vents, which none of us would do. She was, being on the underground and just enjoying the underground. And Joe was like, "What are you doing? Like, it's dirty, it's disgusting, there's nothing here to enjoy." But she was just, every little thing she was just trying to find excitement from. Yes, out of a kind of mindset of trying to find good thing that she's at, trying to find something that she's good at. But also through that, she is just enjoying life, enjoying everyday life. And I think we should all strive towards that. And I think this film beautifully shows that. For me as a Christian, how does this actually reflect or speak for, God's story, the Christian worldview, or the Bible story, I should say? God, yes, he gives us gifts, he gives us talents, and he wants us to use them. But what he says is that we're meant to steward them for his purposes, for his glory, not for our own glory, not for our own purposes, but to help and uplift others, to encourage others, to inspire others, to actually build relationships, to grow in relationship, to love. As he says, to love thy neighbor, as Jesus says, love thy neighbor. So yes, you should, aspire to use the gifts that you've got, and to use them wisely, and to use them well. Because more of the start of the film is when Joe is shown his life from start to finish, basically, and all the moments of his life, and actually how he's never amounted to anything. And God will show us, I believe that, when we do die, I don't believe that we die and then that's it. We die and then we go to heaven. But it's just, I think it's a beautiful picture that, when we go to heaven, God will show us, an account and about what we've done in our life, not about what we've achieved, in our own mindset or in the world's mindset, about how much money we've got, but what he will show us is what we've done with what he's given us. It's not about what we could have done if we had such and such. It's about what I think it's a subtle difference, is that, Joe, he's basically trying to achieve something that he hasn't got yet. Yes, he's got his musical talents, and he's using them. He's using them really well with, teaching the kids and that, but he doesn't see that until toward the end of the film, which again is beautifully shown. But obviously he's trying to achieve something that he hasn't got, and his focus is on that, but he's not focusing on the present, not enjoying and using what he's got. Now the question is for all of us, what do we have? What do we have right now that we're not using to its fullest capacity, that we should be for the benefit of others. I think that's important, for the benefit of others. Joe wasn't using it, didn't want to benefit others. He wanted to benefit himself with what he, had, or what he thought he had. I think that's important. That's what 22, how 22 is distinguished from Joe, is that she was using what she had, her innocence and her just enjoying life. She was using that for the benefit of others. And Joe wasn't until toward the end of the film. I think that reflects the Christian worldview perfectly, because God came into this earth as the person of Jesus, and he came to show that he actually had, even though he had everything, he humbled himself to nothing, into a human being born in not the greatest of circumstances. That's the Christmas message, as we've just celebrated Christmas, that he was born into the lowest of circumstances, into the poorest of the poor, with no roof over his head, basically, in the poorest of the families. And there was a price on his head, for all the firstborn boys of that generation, that they were all to be killed. So there was that sort of price on his head. So he was the King of Kings, the King of the universe, and he humbled himself into the lowest of the low. And yet, when he reached to his 30s, he used the resources that his father had given him, and basically showed how to benefit others, to bless, to heal others, to build relationships, to build love with one another, to build relationships. And I think Soul has kind of reflected some of those Christian values. And I think it's a perfect message: how to love others, how to be compassionate on one another, how to enjoy everyday life, especially when life throws you curveballs, such as COVID. So I think, again, this film is beautiful. For me as a Christian, I would definitely watch this again. Definitely highly recommend this to everyone. I don't think this film's controversial in the slightest. I think this film is just beautiful in how we should live and how we should be treating everyone and everything around us, and how we should just balance life in general. What did you think of Soul, Pixar's Soul on Disney+? Have you seen it yet? Comment below. I would love to get your thoughts. Do you agree or disagree with what I've talked about, with how I've engaged with the content here? What are some of your interpretations of what's happened in the film? What are some of your favourite moments, or some of your dislikes as well? Resonate or maybe not resonate with you? I would love to engage you with the comments below. Again, please follow me on social media, Instagram or Facebook. Private message me there as well. I would love to talk about these topics even further with you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this today. I really appreciate your time. And may God bless you during this time. May He protect you, may He comfort you, keep you safe. May He keep provoking you, inspiring you, encouraging you to engage with the culture through films and TV and connect with Jesus.